topic today is homelessness support and engagement. Thankfully, we're welcomed by two amazing people, Amber and Josh. And
Yes,
I think, Jen, you can go a little bit into Josh before I jump into Amber.
Of course. So we have Josh Wagner here. So Josh has been with the city for a long time. He started with us in 2007 in public safety.
Long time.
Yes. So he's been doing a lot of public safety support services for us. So he's very familiar with the community. The community knows him. He's a familiar and comfortable face, I think, for a lot of our community. And then he worked as a law enforcement technician doing some light detective work and mostly, I think, home support type stuff. And then when LPD was started there, he came back to doing homeless engagement and as actually leading as a supervisor our cost team.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Lots of great things. We also have Amber Storm Williams. She serves as the City of Lancaster's homeless coordinator, bringing over a decade of social services experience to her role. She leads the city's homeless prevention programs, advocating for individuals experiencing homelessness and connecting them to critical housing and support services. Amber's work is driven by compassion, collaboration, and a commitment to saving lives. That's awesome. Well, thank you and welcome, Josh.
Thank you guys
Amber.
for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yes.
Is there anything that we left out that we should know about you before we dive into this conversation?
Nothing really. Huge into sports. That's it.
That's
Besides being
great.
here, it's just normal people, just trying to do whatever we can to make the community better.
Who are your teams?
Who's my teams? I love the Atlanta Braves.
Okay.
And I like the Sacramento Kings, but they're struggling a little bit.
We'll forgive you for that.
And-
That's baseball
okay.
and hockey.
No,
Ooh.
basketball. And then golf. Golf is
Close.
huge.
I am
LA
not
Kings.
a sports person.
LA
Okay.
Kings.
And then anything to do with golf.
Okay,
Golf is
nice.
amazing.
Golf. Do you watch golf?
Oh yes, it's amazing.
Really?
There's nothing bad about it. It's the hardest sport you will ever play in your life.
Yeah. You know, my dad turns the golf channel on when I was a kid to put me to sleep.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I have a love-hate relationship with golf.
easiest
But I still like
scholarship
you.
to get.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure
for
it is.
women to get into golf scholarships, if I ever have a girl, it's going to be a golf scholarship for sure.
There you go.
Yeah, get them early.
So, Amber, can you tell us, because I don't think the community is aware, I mean, you work in homelessness engagement, but your team is called the CORE team, which has a really powerful meaning, and I don't think a lot of people understand the meaning behind what you guys do. So can you tell us about CORE and more about what you guys do?
I'd be happy to. CORE actually stands for Community Outreach Resource Education Team or Division. So what we do at the CORE Division for the Lancaster Police Department is we are comprised of 10 frontline responsive outreach individuals who are on our team that address the quality of life through direct services, resources, and education to bolster access to resources and continue continuity of care. So we really work to make sure that we find the root causes of issues in the community, and also we do what we can to have warm handoffs and bridge gaps when service providers need support or we're seeing something, if an area is lacking.
Great. So you're really trying to stop that cycle
Exactly.
within that community. That's great, because I know a lot of people struggle, you know, even if they're given support or they're provided a space to go for the night. It doesn't mean that, you know, the problem is solved or that, you know, the next day they're going to be a member of society as you would anticipate them to be. But it's really making those connections to make sure that you're helping them in the long run.
Exactly. Through means of progressive engagement, we're really about meeting people where they are and not leaving them where they're at. So what we do, like I said, is look at the root causes and work with service providers to bridge those gaps. Our mission is to bridge gaps between service providers, reduce barriers to access, and educate the public for safer Lancaster.
That's great.
Yeah, that's incredible. Now it's time for us to direct the same question to you, Josh. When people hear costs, they may be thinking many things beyond what you actually do. And I know we're going to be informing the viewers, but my brother's going to be joining your team very soon. So I'm trying to do him a favor and get some insight on how he can do well at his job. Yeah. So what exactly is cost and how does it support our community of Lancaster?
So COST is Community Outreach Support Team. So we are the front line of when a complaint comes into the city. If it has to do with homeless persons or people that are out there that are experiencing homeless, we go out and answer those complaints. So currently, well, when we first started in 2016, we had 3 members of our team. We have grown to 12 members currently, and when your brother and a couple other people get here, we'll be at 17 team members. We have 2 functions. It might turn into a third, but it'll be a patrol function, which you get the initial complaint. You go out there and see if you can solve it with just a, hey, how you doing? Why are you here? What is going on? What can we do to help? Can I send Amber out? Can I send some other resources out to help you? Or are we going to have to maybe do a cleanup or something like that? The other team is it's pretty much all inclusive. So when we get encampments, they get a lot of stuff. So we post them for 72 hours after the initial complaint, and we do a cleanup after the 72 hours. That's in introducing Amber to them, getting as much services as we can through outreach, and then doing a cleanup with our contractors, and then just following up after the cleanup's done to make sure that they don't return to that private property.
That's awesome what you do. It seems like you guys are the first point of contact on a large spectrum of individuals that are experiencing homelessness and those that are impacted through homelessness. And then you toss them over to Amber to actually develop resources, opportunities, and growth. But for those that might not know, what does a day actually look like for you? You're full on into the experience. So what does that not only look like, but what does it feel like for you?
So it's all about safety. Our team is very tight. You got to be tight when you're going into situations that you don't generally know. And we work with our police officers and our deputies pretty closely. But we would respond to a site. If there's multiple people there, we'll go and contact them and see what we can do to get them to move on, if we can get them housing or if we can get them some kind of services that will help them. If they won't, then we give them a little bit of time to collect their personal belongings and get them out before our contractors go in. So this is usually for a general cleanup. It probably takes us about 4 to 5 hours, just because we're not trying to step on them too much, but we're trying to get it over that they are on private property, and we do need to solve the initial complaint that our residents have.
And Amber, for you, you really start to humanize the situation, and you have a past in social service work that has really influenced this experience for you. So what does the day in the life look like for you to actually connect with the individual and provide the proper resources for them?
I'd say I want to touch on actually what you asked Josh on the tail end of that last question. What does it feel like? It feels like we are making a difference every time I go. I get to go have the privilege to go out with those guys. Outreach for me is about consistency and compassion. It's all about meeting people where they are, like we talked about. So it's about planting a seed. A person might not be ready because homelessness and being unhoused is a trauma. So there are things that are that come with having a trauma experience, right? And so it might take a couple interactions with a person to feel safe enough and rooted enough in this community to seek out those services. So I really feel like what my role in this is about really ensuring that there is a continuum of care and a continuity of care, and these people aren't being lost in the system, if that makes sense. Ultimately, it is about putting people first and leading with a person-centered mindset. It's about really trying to encourage the community to see homeless and the unhoused population as, as human beings. A lot of times with the unhoused population, they may not feel like they are seen or heard, but through progressive engagement, we can work to build those relationships up so that eventually, they are safe enough, they feel secure enough to receive services.
And Amber is the perfect person. They automatically trust her. So we struggle to get trust with my team because they think we're automatically enforcement. And obviously the shirts look a little bit scary and the trucks and all that stuff. But with Amber being there and them actually being able to trust us a little bit more and trust her, I think it gives us more legs than we've ever had in the past. This one just started. Our relationship with the core team just started it was within last year, 2 years.
Definitely.
And it's just, this is the easiest the job has been.
Yeah. So I want to touch on something that you mentioned there. People look at you as enforcement, and I think you do your team kind of gets a bad rap with the public who think that we aren't providing appropriate services to the homeless. And so what is that like for you? Because I know you guys do prep prepare. Like, you're not going in with bulldozers and kicking people out, and you're not yelling at anyone. Like, everything you do is about preparation and explanation. So can you touch on that a little bit more?
Everybody has been talked to. We know the people that are left out there. The people that have wanted housing are getting housing, or wanted services have gotten services. But it's about getting to the point in some of these people's lives where they're kind of done being homeless, and you got to reach that point. And I think it's a strategy with us getting them to be done. They still get their personal items and stuff, but you got to get people ready to want the housing and want to get off the streets, or you're just forcing them into it and they're going to leave and they're going to be on the streets again. So when they're ready, Amber's great with getting them where they need to be.
You've been doing this for a long time, so you probably see a lot of the same players. Can you tell when that mood shift happens? You know, like, you've talked to them a few times, and then, like, do you feel like there are times when you can tell that someone is ready? They're ready to talk to Amber. They're ready to.
So you'll
to
see them
change.
go from absolutely not, we don't want anything, you're just against us, you're just this, to maybe you can, and then they'll take the card, and then the next one they'll be like, oh, we definitely could use something. And even that, it's hit or miss.
Yeah.
And then the next time it'll be, yeah, Amber's going to come out here, or Amber's been out there a bunch of times already. This is the time they're most likely going to take it.
How does that feel, like, when you get to that?
My team is an amazing team, and they get kudos all the time. We'll get people that'll come up later. Hey, you removed us from the park, but it was the best thing that you've ever done for us, because now I'm in a house, now I've got a job, now I've got food every day, and I'm happy that you guys did that.
It's honestly, I'd like to piggyback. It's the best feeling in the world when you know someone is overcoming barriers to being unhoused and they are ready to seek that support, and they have challenges that they might not be ready to overcome in that moment, but they're ready to come indoors. And so that's the first step, right? And so, like he said, the COS team is the direct frontline staff when it comes to making that first touch. And then with my support and my role and what we do on the core team to come in and provide those services, a lot of times it's a little bit of balancing out the enforcement and the advocacy, right? And finding that fine line and that fine balance between the two.
Yeah.
Nice. What you guys do is clearly impactful work, and it really changes people's lives. But to get to that end goal, there is a lot of hope that needs to stay consistently. And all of us have challenges throughout any career field that we take. And it feels like we have to pick up our foot every day to just take the next step. What do you guys do when you're in that moment of realizing, I want to give this person help, but right now they don't want the help? How do you keep the hope alive?
I think it's just going to be something inside. I think everybody always deserves a chance, and I'm not playing anybody that can say, hey, this isn't his last chance. You always have that. It's just about us continuing to offer it, and eventually they're going to take it. Just don't give up on anybody. We've had people that have gone all the way from almost fighting us to, hey, I want housing, I'm done. And now we're cool. We know first name basis, and you just continue with them.
How do you handle that when someone is more aggressive? I know you guys are outside, and this is the other thing, like, the environment is so much for you guys. You're going into an uncomfortable situation. It's so hot. You don't know who's going to be into the tent that you're going to talk to. Like, how do you deal with a lot of that anxiety, or if someone is aggressive, like, and then go the next day and do it again?
So with the original 2 members, we had 2 people, Russell Bailey and Mike Cooper. He's since passed away. It was all about experience. They've been here 60 years total, between them being deputies. And I was young, so they're just teaching me how to be a man and talk to people and how to assess different situations. So you know when you're in real danger and when people are just more bark than bite. If we didn't have the experience, now we have with the 12 people, all of them, well, most of them are past law enforcement. Not having too many tools, you know to watch the people and know exactly not what they're thinking, but you can tell by mannerisms, and those guys are amazing at that, of it's time to back up or it's time to go forward. Pick one, you know what I mean? Because you don't have too many chances if you make the wrong decision. It could be a bad day, But these guys are amazing.
I have to add, the City of Lancaster and the LPD provide optimal training opportunities as well that equip us for being in the field.
That's awesome. I just want to pull something that Josh said when he first went out in the field. He was really being taught how to be a man. With your position, do you feel, you shared earlier, you're proud of being a mother? Do you feel being a mother has allowed you to really meet with these individuals and empathize with them and know what they need and desire in that moment?
Definitely. They're someone's child, right? They're probably a mother or a father or brother or sister, right? And it's not allowing them to be forgotten about. I think that that's definitely a motivation for me. And then I think that, you know, both of us have lived here. Josh and I have lived here a long time. We're from here. We're passionate about this community. We want to see these community members empowered, and we want to see them stabilized and safe. And so that is the motivation to keep doing this every single day.
We want to make sure that we talk about any resources. So for anyone that's listening that is, connected to somebody who is maybe experiencing homelessness, what are some resources that, they can provide, or some contacts or connections that they can lean on if they're needing help, or they feel like they're on the brink of maybe losing their home? Like, what are areas that they can go or somewhere they can look to find resources?
Resources for this area they can be scarce, right? But we do have the resources and the service providers who are boots on the ground doing the work. One of the tools that community members can use if they are in need of support is LA HOP to report someone in need of outreach. It is also a self-referral process, so the unhoused, if they do have access to a computer or a phone and they can access the internet, they can also let outreach teams know where they are, and so that they can receive that support. So that's going to be lahop.org, and that's going to be through LASA. Another thing that people can do if they're in need of resources is check out the city's official Connect portal, and it's called Lancaster Connect, and it's all about resources, and it has a list of resources A through Z. We're currently in the midst of revamping that website to make it even better, but it has a slew of community resources for the community members who are high risk and in need. If someone is seeking mental health support, a great asset is the Buck. That's the Behavioral Health Urgent Care Center on IN 5th Street for mental health support. They have a crisis walk-in center, and they also do voluntary holds in the back. So that's a great mental health support. Another resource ultimately is educating yourself on the resources that are around. And that is going to be going to the service providers that are providing the service. I would like to touch on the fact that the City of Lancaster and the LPD do not provide housing support services. We just provide the linkages and the connectivity.
Great. Thank you. Well, Amber and Josh, thank you so much for joining us today. Like Tiffany said earlier, this is such an important topic to everybody and to our community. And the more that we can shine light on the incredible work that you guys and your teams are doing, we want to make sure that we do that.
Yeah. And we were speaking about how do we get resources or support, but before we wrap this up, I just want to ask if community individuals want to support you guys. What do we do? It's such a selfless job that you do, and every day you choose to lay down your selfishness to make sure the community's okay. So how do we better support you as a community?
Well, you can start by educating yourself with compassion, as well as, small actions make a big impact. Say hello. Offer a resource card. Human connection can be the start of someone's recovery. We recently had a very high-risk case that was a life or death situation a couple months ago. And it's really impacted the way that I look at the work that we do and the impact of our two teams together and what we could do. There was an elderly woman who was at Boeing Plaza for about 3 months where we were trying to coordinate services. Josh and his guys made me aware of this, and they went out and engaged with this person on a weekly basis. Ultimately, because the LPD was involved and we have this core team and we're able to work with the cost team, we were able to bring in 8 agencies to work her situation out.
It's amazing.
And get her some supports that she needed. So it did take a long time because there are gaps with continuity of care like we talked about. But with persistence and us staying on it and working together with our two teams, we were able to get her to a higher level of care. Her condition was so severe that she was not able to walk or go anywhere, use the restroom. Unfortunately, she was in a very severe state, to the point where she had signs of decay. I'm just going to say the thing. And unfortunately, it was heartbreaking throughout the process for both of our teams, because we have this unhoused community member who is in need of supports. And because of certain red tapes with the systems, we're not able to provide the support that we can. But we were able to bridge that gap and break through those barriers and get her where she needed to be to get that support. So she's currently on the mend and with family. And she wasn't even from this area, and she had housing. So it's one of those things where anyone can fall through the cracks. We are one bad mistake or a paycheck away, potentially a lot of us in this community, from being unhoused. It's really looking at them like they're human, and understanding that, you know, they want to be seen and heard as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. And that's just one story of the many to just show and reflect what you guys actually do for the community, the unseen moments, the moments that none of us really know about and go unnoticed, but are the most impactful. Josh, if you have one statement you want to leave the viewers with, what is that statement?
I don't want to go negative.
I know that was that was such
it was a good.
that was a
I got
swell
one.
of emotions.
You ready for?
Well, one other thing that could do to help us is we have a panhandling issue right now. These people are getting plenty of food, so if money isn't going to help them, they're going to get their next one, and it draws them in for us. We got plenty of services, so stop giving them money and give them food if you want to give them food,
And stop giving them tents. It really does negatively impact the system, unfortunately, especially affects Josh's and his team's operations. If we're consistent, service providers or ministries are consistently giving out tents to the unhoused, then they're never going to want to come indoors, you know. Not never, but it's going to be a harder, it's going to be more of a deterrent to want to come and get stabilized.
Yeah. You said you had one statement.
I do. I have our closing.
I don't want to block it.
The unhoused in Lancaster aren't statistics. They're our neighbors. One crisis away could be any of us, like we just said. If we truly want a stronger community, we must build systems rooted in dignity, access, and hope. So that's how we're going to try to turn this around together.
That's beautiful. If I wrap that up right, I think it's all today about compassion, empathy, and understanding, correct?
That's right.
Awesome.
Well, that was amazing. The dynamic duo, literally out there saving lives.
Yes,
So
literally.
Thank you very much.
Mr. and
thank you
Mrs.
for joining us.
Lancaster.
I know. Thank you for sharing your story. And we will do our best to continue sharing it as well, because you're doing such incredible work. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. If you want to keep up to date on everything else we've got going on and our next podcast episode, please follow us on Instagram, City of Lancaster CA. Thank
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Appreciate you.